Hello and Merry Christmas, one and all. Thank you for joining me today for the annual Christmas special. So today, what are we doing? I am going to give you an update on how the channel's going. I'm going to sort of give a bit of a summary on how things have gone this year for me and the channel in general. And then I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that you've sent in kindly on one of my community posts. So, a few bits and pieces on the channel and just a little bit of Q&A. So, firstly, this should be published on the last Sunday before Christmas. Believe it or not, it isn't actually that day now, because to spoil the YouTube mystery, it's about the 5th of December today. It is freezing. My goodness. I'm in my living room. It's cold as shit in this place. There's a Christmas tree up. I've got a tangerine to eat because it reminds me of Christmas, because when I was a kid, my mum used to put a tangerine in my Christmas stocking, and I always used to remember peeling it, that smell, eating the tangerine with it, opening the present. So I've got that there. Got a cup of coffee. I've got a Jameson's, only a single. This is 9:30 in the morning, so this is going to be a good day, I can tell you that much. I've got a whiskey and ginger ale, warm me up, and I've got some Frazzle crisps. If you're American, you probably think, what the fuck is a Frazzle? If you're English, you know what I'm talking about. Can't beat a Frazzle, right? Okay, that's enough of that. Right. Channel update. Okay, so where are we at with the channel? At the moment, I think we're about 14,000 and change, 14.1 subscribers. So this year, the channel has continued to grow. It hasn't grown as fast as I would have liked, but it's still going upwards. I guess that's a good sign, I suppose. In terms of this year, it's hard to kind of sum it up, but like if we're talking about the big ones, I'd say I've added 3 documentaries to the channel. The Vietnam War Games documentary, World War One, and Gears of War, which was the most recent, which has just come out. Lots of reviews. I've started to do YouTube Shorts because I know that's a new thing. I'm not really sure whether that's something that's actually going to take off, but doing a few 60-second reviews that seem to have been relatively well received. In terms of this year, my games of the year, I think there's 2 very, very clear sort of standouts in my eyes. The first one being Elden Ring, which came first. I think it came first. Very much enjoyed Elden Ring. I think it was really interesting. Lots of very good parts to it. I also think it's a From Software game, so it has the kind of the From Software curse of its own kind of generational decisions about structure and things like that, but I still think it was really absolutely fantastic. But for me, my game of the year this year would definitely be Horizon Forbidden West. Now, before I played it, I thought it wasn't going to be as good as the first one. I thought they would struggle with the story, because the first game was kind of like a almost perfect story. And I have to say, with this second one, they really did pull it off, and it worked, surprisingly. I wasn't sure it would, but I just think in terms of the gameplay, the game world, the characters, the writing, the dialogue, the interaction between characters, the progression, the boss fights, the combat, the fluidity of it, the whole setup, barring like 1 or 2 minor things, Horizon Forbidden West was just absolutely my game of the year, and it was by quite a distance. Elden Ring's very good, best of the rest by a long way. Beyond those 2, there wasn't really much this year that really just blew me out of the water. I haven't played God of War yet, obviously, so I can't comment on that, but I played Dying Light 2, that was another new release. Really quite disappointing. I found it just a bit, where's the story at? Oh yeah, we forgot, sorry. What else is new this year? Well, I have still got the PS4. Not really playing that much. I'm using that for more documentary projects. My next documentary will be on the samurai, using Ghost of Tsushima to portray it. So that's something I'm really into at the moment. I just watched Shogun, which is an old TV show you've probably never heard of, about that kind of era of Japan. It's a very good series, a little bit dated, but it's definitely one. If you haven't seen Shogun, that's a good reference point. And that's now I'm kind of in that consuming samurai culture at the moment to make this documentary. Probably make another couple this year as well. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I have added a new piece of gear. So the PS4's still there, obviously. The Series S is my kind of mainstay. I've just got a new laptop a few weeks ago because my old one was having a meltdown. It was about 10 years old. Couldn't really cope anymore with editing, just basic video editing. So I've got I got a Dell, I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's like 32 gig RAM, so super fast, solid state drive. state-of-the-art graphics cards, etc. So pretty much I can play anything on the PC now, any new games. So that's going to open up a whole realm for me. So looking forward to that in the new year. And yeah, generally with the channel, yeah, I probably next year I'm going to have to review how much I do on this channel. You know, I've done quite a lot of videos to date, but I probably will strip it right back to about 4 videos a month, because I don't see the time benefit. Unless people want to see more videos, then you need to become a patron or do the super likes where you can contribute financially to every video I put out. If you really like my stuff and you want it to carry on, you know, in a high volume, contribute. Otherwise, you know, I'm sort of pissing in the wind doing a lot of work for no money. So, you know, you've got to balance it out. But the channel will carry on next year, but possibly at a reduced level. Maybe a couple of reviews a month, a VP guide, and possibly like a short docu. But we'll see how things go and take it from there. Right, I need a drink. Guys, this is a bit strong. Fuck it. I'll tell you what, if I ever worked at a bar, I would be fired on day one. Anyway, let's cheers. Cheers. Just cheers myself, coffee and a whiskey. There you go. Oh, nice. Right. Where are we at? So that's the update done. Right now, questions and answers. Thank you for sending them in. I try to do this like every year as a sort of a kind of tradition, so that you can kind of get to know me a little bit better, get to know the channel a little bit better. So yeah, thank you for sending them in. Let's have a look at the first question. So the first question was sent in by Mike Whitman, and the question is, where do you draw inspiration for your documentaries? Any favourite documentary filmmakers? Well, second part I'll answer first. I don't really have any favourite documentary filmmakers, to be perfectly honest, because I feel like a lot of documentaries I see, there's a good one here and there, but I haven't found a documentary filmmaker that I like consistently. So documentaries I like, I did enjoy the Diego Maradona one, done by the same director who did the Senna documentary. I didn't really care for the Senna documentary, but I thought the Maradona one was really interesting because it's kind of, that was at a time when I first got into football, around 86, 87. Maradona's obviously probably my favourite footballer in terms of like all-time greats, because of just what he was, you know, just raw street kid, and just total, like, if you want a character to base a documentary on, Maradona's perfect, because he's got the talent, he's got the backstory, and he's, you know, he's from the lower class, so he's always been pushed down and he's always fighting the system, and then, you know, he goes to Naples and all that. So that's a great documentary. In terms of where do I draw inspiration from my documentaries, I just go with my gut. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll make a documentary on this subject, and then I find a good way to get, because like to do a documentary, that's weeks, months of work. That's a lot of fucking work. So you got to kind of push yourself into it a little bit. So I like to read books or watch movies or listen to music thematically that suit the topic. Not necessarily things I'm going to use as influence, but just to get my head in the space. You know what I mean? I find that helps me. And then once my head's in the space, then I kind of come up with my own concept and idea. And then I just use the information, the factual information, to sort of frame it, I guess. Excuse me. Been watching the World Cup as well, just as an aside. Really odd to have a World Cup in the winter, because normally for me, I love watching the World Cup in, you know, it's sunny, it's warm. Now it's just like, I tell you what, this living room is like, it's like if this living room feels like it was in the North Pole, in a fridge, on an ancient burial ground. It's that fucking cold. But anyway, I think I might need another whiskey in a minute. Right, next question. Who sent in? Dan Mall sent me a question. Oh, he says, not so much a question, but it would be awesome one day to get a tier list type video from you talking about what's your favourite games, either of all time, in a generation, or a specific genre. Yeah, that is a good idea. I'll take credit for it when I do it, obviously. No, I'm joking. Favourite games, you know what, it's hard to say. I mean, if you want to know my favourite games, I should probably publish a list of all my scores, because I do have like an Excel sheet with all scores. So, like, I don't give 10s that often. I think off the top of my head, 10 out of 10s. Mass Effect 2, Skyrim, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Sleeping Dogs, Gears of War 2. What else? There's a few 9.5s, but yeah, 10 is like difficult to get. But I think Ico is probably one of my favourite games of all time, just for its beautiful poetic presentation and minimalistic approach and immersion and the visuals, the sound. Delightful. Why haven't they redone that? Honestly, such a great game. But yeah, I might do videos on that at some point. If the channel kind of winds up, I might sort of finish it like that, you know, make a list of like best games in this genre, maybe. That's an option. But at the moment, no, I'm kind of happy with how things are going. I haven't really got a lot of time to do that at the moment. Right. Next question is from Arkham UK. Or there's 3 questions, right. When and where was your last holiday/break? Well, it's got to be, it was probably about 7 years ago. Now, I'm a bit of a special case with holidays, breaks. Like, I don't really do holidays or breaks because, like, for me, a holiday and break is like 2 weeks away or a weekend and stuff. When I was in my mid to late 20s, I used to work in an office, fucking hated the shit out of it. I didn't have any direction in life, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like in one of those quandaries and I was like, right, I need some way of figuring out this shit. So I basically had a career break from my really tedious job. Went to Asia for 6 months on my own. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Backpack, money in my pocket, drink, drugs, women, etc. Amazing time, chaos, but it gave me a chance to figure out all the shit in my life and where I wanted to go. And then I sort of ended up going into becoming what I was, an artist in different fields. Now, ever since I did those I did 3 trips over a period of years, I can't go on a holiday anymore. Like, I can't go away for 2 weeks because I just don't see the point. Because like when I go away, I want to go away, and it's usually when I feel like I need to just get out of Dodge, if you know what I mean. You know, I need 2 months just to fuck off and go somewhere and get my head straight and review and analyze my life and like where am I going next. And I feel like I'm getting there. You know what? I'm not far off it. Getting very restless lately. Don't have the money at the moment. The pandemic ruled it out, but I haven't had a break in about 6-7 years. You know, I'd love to take a couple of months out, you know, head down to Thailand for a month because I've got a lot of work contacts down there, and then maybe, you know, head over to like maybe Burma or Laos or Vietnam, or, you know, there's lots of places around that I haven't been to. So, you know, I haven't had a break in ages. Like, it feels like a long time. But when I do, I will have a proper break. Next question from Arkham UK was, do you believe Atlantis was real? Well, like when people say Atlantis, it's like saying, do you believe in aliens? It's kind of like a sort of fantastical idea. But I think there is enough documentary evidence, archaeological evidence to suggest that the history books that we've been taught are not 100% accurate. They may be accurate to what we are told they've found, but we haven't really archaeologically explored the planet, even like 0.5%. It's like we've basically done nothing. And there is compelling evidence that, you know, was it about 12,000 years ago, there was a massive meteor shower around the North Pole or something, and a lot of ice caps melted and caused huge flooding. And if you have huge flooding, what happens? All of the coastal regions get flooded, all of the islands. And where do the rich people generally live, or the most advanced people? On the coast, because it's near all the infrastructure of transport, ocean transport, you know, shipping, etc. So I do kind of believe that there was a lost civilization that we've kind of forgotten because they probably got wiped out. I don't think they were like flying around in spaceships. I would believe around 12,000 years ago we probably had a civilization on a par with like the ancient Greeks, but they just got wiped out. But maybe some of them survived and then integrated into modern society. So I do believe that there was some civilization before the one that we kind of see as who we are, because there's too many artifacts and structures that predate all of that stuff. So yeah, I do believe in the principle of it, not in like the kind of the fantastical element maybe. And last question from Arkham UK is, what's your favourite film and why? Well, I'm a big film fan. I love movies. They really just help me switch off at night. You know, like after doing lots of work, you just escape into another planet, another world, another character-driven story. I love movies. Lots of movies I do like. I really enjoyed The Deer Hunter when I was younger. It's a very powerful war movie without really being about war necessarily. Lots of films. I've probably got like a top 20 written down somewhere, but I can't remember a lot of it. But if I had to say what's my favourite movie, it would be a movie called Leon, which is directed by Luc Besson. So Luc Besson is a French director. It's set in America, so that's interesting in itself because the French have a very sort of style in terms of filmmaking, very different to the American style. But it's a film set in America by a French director. Jean Reno plays a hitman. Natalie Portman plays this young girl who's got an abusive family. Gary Oldman plays this sort of corrupt cop. It's just such a beautiful film. Like, it's very poetic, it's very elegant, it's very well paced. It's got heartwarming, beautiful moments. It's got terrifying moments. It's got camp moments. It's got exciting moments. It's got so much in there. It's such a heartwarming, beautiful piece of work that I really like make an event to watch it. Like, I almost don't want to watch it on DVD. I think the last time I saw it, I actually went to the movie theatre. Like, you know, you have these retro cinemas and they show old movies because it's my favourite movie, but I don't want to watch it all the time. I want to watch it like very sparingly. In terms of like modern films that I really liked, what was that one with Christian Bale, like Hostiles, where he's in the Wild West? It's got the blonde English actress in it as well, and it's really, really quite bleak. Honestly, I do like a bleak movie, but that's quite good. I think Prisoners. I'm not a big fan of Villeneuve because I think he's quite emotionless and, I don't know, clinical. But I thought Prisoners was such an absolutely beautiful story. Like, in terms of, I mean, it's not a beautiful story. It's quite harrowing. When I say beautiful, I mean like as a filmmaker's perspective. It's such an elegant way they've presented it. Pacing, casting is perfect, music is perfect. The sequences, the confusion between the plot lines, the way it progresses, the arc, and the kind of conclusion. One of the best films you could ever watch, in my opinion. Right. Oh, God, what is it? It's 9:50 and I've just poured myself another whiskey. So, like, this is going to be... I'm glad I don't have to do any work today. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, hopefully I won't start slurring. I'm such a lightweight. Right. Next questions. Where are we? Can I still see? Yes, I can. So I haven't had too much. Right. Toffee-tastic. Oh, toffee. I would love a toffee right now. What's your first game that you played? Jeez. I would probably imagine it would be Space Invaders. I had like this handheld black and yellow, quite tall looking arcade thing with a big red button and a little joystick on the other side. Then I think I had this little golden Nintendo sort of Donkey Kong thing, like a flip open one. They were probably the first ones I played at home, but like in the arcades, honestly, I couldn't tell you what the first games I played in the arcades were, but I just tried all sorts of things. I didn't have a lot of money as a kid, so like I had a little bit of pocket money and I had to like, right, what do I want to play? So I would walk around the arcades very carefully thinking, what do I want to spend my coins on? So yeah, I couldn't tell you what the first one was, but probably Space Invaders, I would imagine. 2 more questions from Toffee-tastic. Blimey, right, what old game would you like to be remade? Well, I think I said it earlier. Ico. Ico is such a beautiful game. It's such a beautiful experience. It's just truly wonderful. It's so much better than Shadow of the Colossus, which gets all the hype and gets the fucking remake. Ico, please, 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 please remake that. That's such a delight. That's like a living piece of art in a game form. If you've never played it, my goodness, please. Superb. Superb. Other ones, do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing games from the past, not remade, but brought back to life, like Speedball 2. That's such a fun game, and that could be such a really entertaining game in the modern era, especially with a bit of online competitive play. That could be fun. Sensible Soccer, old games, bring them back. Don't know, there's a few, but I'm not a big remake fan. I think now, I saw like a Twitter post the other day where it had horror fans are so lucky, and it had Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, and another one, and I'm like, I've played these like 10 years ago. It's like, these aren't new, just because they got a new bit of graphics and a little bit, it's just depressing how the games industry is kind of mimicking Hollywood, and it's just like, let's just remake everything because we can't think of any good ideas. Good ideas are hard to come by, any artist will tell you that. And, you know, when people keep going back to the past and reusing old ideas, it tells you one thing. It tells you that within that organisation, they don't have the right people in the right jobs, because if you had the right people in the right jobs, the creative artists, let them come up with the ideas, and then you would have new ideas. But this is not the way it's going. Everyone's told they're an artist these days. Well, they're not, are they? No. So remake culture, yeah. Do I really want to play 5 remakes a year? Not really. Show me some new games, please. New games, thank you. Right, last question from, what was it, Toffee-tastic. Most anticipated game you wished for at Christmas? Well, I don't remember having many games for Christmas. I think the one I do remember was probably Shenmue, because I think that was a game way ahead of its time. That was a game where I don't remember anything like Shenmue before it, and I just thought, wow, that looks really interesting. It was on the Dreamcast, and I remember thinking, wow, what is that? That's like martial arts, being in Japan. I'd always found Japan quite interesting as a place. Like, that was before I actually went there. I'd been there for like about 3 weeks, traveling around Tokyo and surrounds on the bullet train and Kyoto. So it was kind of like almost giving me a flavour of Japanese culture in some regard, you know, in a light way. But yeah, that was something I really looked forward to. Next question is from Thomas Sharples. I once had a boss with the name Sharples. Really couldn't fucking stand her. Anyway, that's an aside. What's the question from Tommy? Tommy boy, I am wondering, Mr. Gamer, how can you stomach completing so many Western open world action games in such a short space of time? You did all the Saints Row games, Dying Light 2, Mafia Trilogy, Horizon Forbidden West. God, I need a drink. To name a few. I think if I had done that, I would have been burnt out big time, and I like the genre, but you keep going like a machine. Cheers. Well, I am a machine. I'm very thorough, and when I get my head down, I don't give a shit. I'm like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank. I will dig the tunnel for 100 years as long as I see an end in sight. And that's really my approach. Now, the Saints Row games, for example, I'd played Saints Row 1, 2, 3 and 4 before, so I didn't need to play them all the way through. 1 and 2 I did about half, then I did the review. 4 I did about 3/4. Saints Row 3, I did the remaster, shite, gave up because it crashed every 5 seconds. And then I actually did play Saints Row 3 all the way through again because I really enjoyed it. But yeah, Dying Light 2, finished it because I'd never played it before. Mafia Trilogy, finished those. They're not that long really. You just got to get on with it. And Forbidden West. The thing is, I think if you want to complete these sorts of games, you just got to get on with it. That's the principle. That's the approach. Because I do like meandering, but I save my meandering for photo mode videos. Because if I start meandering in all of those games that I just mentioned, I'll be here till I'm fucking dead. You know, I'll be here for the next 400 years. So I generally don't meander too much, only if it's one that I'm really enjoying. And I'm like, Horizon Forbidden West, I did meander quite a lot because beautiful game world, really interesting to explore, lots of little hidden nooks and crannies and stuff like that. But yeah, I honestly, open world games, I don't really feel like playing any at the moment because yeah, I have played quite a few. Like, at the moment, I'm playing Forza Horizon 4, really enjoying that. I'm not really playing much else at the moment. I've started playing Shadow of Mordor. I've reviewed that already and played it before, but it's a game I quite enjoy. You know, I do love a bit of shit talk with the orcs, so I've been playing that. Not really playing anything else that I can think of. I did start Grand Theft Auto 4 the other day, but I'll probably play that over Christmas because I don't think I completed it back in the day, so I've got to go through that one. But yeah, open world games. I hear what you're saying. It's a bit of a tedious grind, but there you go. What can you do? Okay, last question I think it is. What is this question? Stop UFO Fakes asks, who picks up guide dog poo? Well, I don't know. There you go. That's a quick answer. Right, that's the last question. I hope that was enjoyable. Hang on. I was just checking the recording. It hadn't stopped. That would have been annoying. Right. Well, there you go. A few Q&As. I'll probably do another one in the summer. I try and do like a couple a year. Didn't have any. I tried to find Christmas jokes for you guys, but Honestly, they were so shit. I couldn't stomach it this year. I was like, nah, I can't read these out. Cannot do it, cannot do it. I was going to do a Christmas quiz. Again, didn't have time. But, maybe next year. So yeah, hopefully the update was useful for you and the questions give you a bit of an insight into myself and the channel. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you have a really nice time and I hope you get to spend it with the people that you care about and people that care about you, whether that's your family or not in some cases, no comment, or friends, whatever. Just try and enjoy it. Try and have a few days where you just don't think about lots of other shit. Get off your phone for a little bit as well. Just relax, chill, and enjoy the people that count. So, the channel, this month, my goodness, I've probably posted about 400 Gears videos, haven't I? So you're probably sick to death of that. But don't worry, there's one more. Yeah. Just when you thought you were safe, no. Just when you thought you were out, we brought you back in. Anyway, tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. When am I posting this? Okay, this is the last Sunday before Christmas. Apparently, it's not really, but suspend disbelief. So Christmas is 4 or 5 days away. Now on Christmas Eve, the 24th part of the Gears docu publishes. That's the end. Then Christmas Day, obviously no videos. Boxing Day, there is a video on Gears of War, like what happens next. Where does Gears go next? So it's a discussion video. If you like Gears, please watch that. And then after that, there'll be like one video a week, I guess. Reviews. I've got some old PS4 stuff, some retros, some Xbox Game Pass stuff. So yeah, there will be continued content. I'm going to take a few weeks off now. So by the time you watch this, I'm probably just slobbing out somewhere, getting drunk and just putting on about 3 stone in weight. So yeah. Anyway, in the meantime, yeah. If you haven't seen the Gears documentary, I would really hope give it a chance. It's long. It's a good documentary though if you like Gears of War. There's also the 50th episode of the VP Guide I published a few weeks back. So, plenty to watch. Thank you again for your support. If you'd like to support the channel more, become a patron, financially contribute. That may help me continue doing this in the long run. But for now, again, Merry Christmas. Enjoy the festivities. Be safe. Have a drink if that's your cup of tea. And just make the most of the things you have and don't worry about all the shit you don't have because who the fuck cares, right? Merry Christmas. I am slightly half cut right now. So, au revoir. Have a good Christmas and I'll see you in the new year. Ho, ho, ho. Let's have a frazzle.